everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode iya Zaye Zahala Panamba Power TV. Mwetu katika DStv channel 278, GOtv channel 19. Allow me to introduce my name is Suecey. Mventure jigero cha kukopala ngamlefa tijibiongo chapa kopala. Imwana inendefa tukere chapa. So be sure to join me on social media. That's Power TV Zambia, Facebook, Instagram, na X, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. To my exclusive content on YouTube. We have interviews that you could have potentially missed with some of your favorite artists. My guest on today's episode is going to be somebody behind the beat, or somebody who is a hit maker and has been behind some of the greatest hits that are going on in the country right now. His name is KINGTEC. He's produced Shingi, from Your Maps to Roberto to Mr. Crown to JK, Navambi Abashala. Today we're going to be taking a route in music, talking about some of the biggest hits such as Superman, My Hero Yakwa Maps, Vanabandi, Piece of Shingi, Tete Mpende Nokupenda. But we're going to be talking about those songs and more. Panopene pa Zaye Zahala. Be sure to join in for social media. Ngato awera pana namisha kochi banga. KINGTEC is going to be joining me. Muchimunzi Nizi. My guest is already on site. Today we're going behind the music, the people that make your favorite artists. They're the ones that make the bangers. KINGTEC has been behind some of the biggest projects of 2024 and 2025, and here to understand how he's gotten to this point, puts the way to go back in time and where he grew up and finding out some of his musical influences. Nafika Kare. KINGTEC, how are you doing?
Fine, and how are you doing?
I am doing well. Yeah. How does it feel to be a superstar?
It's a great experience.
You know what? I forgot to say something. He's an international manager. I saw that you actually say that, like, international producer rather. Yeah. I forgot that you say that in your videos. It's your international producer, KINGTEC. Like da. How did you end Kajaka international producer tag?
It's the works.
You know?
For me, it's the works. Yeah. The way I deliver works. Yeah. With my team, and just making sure the craft is on point.
Nice. Yeah. So we kickstarted the show with Superman.
Yeah.
And I intentionally did that because but this is the man behind the production. So I want to know how it happened. Like, how did when you're starting to produce the song, did you know from scratch it was going to have Omarion on it, or was it a song you were working on? Then as it went on, I started to find out that it's going to feature Omarion.
Yeah, I was well informed when the team from Orioles called me. I was well informed that we are collaborating with a big artist from the States. So yeah, which made the work actually quite difficult to actually just work on it, because we had to pull out that excellence in it. Yeah.
So how was it? Like, how were the nerves? Also, what was your initial reaction when they told you, did you like Pangechi?
No, being ready for the task. It wasn't really, it didn't give me that anxiety or what, because I knew that I was going to execute either ways. Yeah.
Come on. Cloak that. But you know what, before we get to some of the things that you've achieved, because I know that 2024 and 2025, I don't want to tag and say a lot of the songs, maybe 90% of the songs that are out now are songs that you had something to do with. But before we get to this success, there's a journey that you had to go through. And I came across a Roberto post where he said he bumped into you in Choma.
Yeah.
Are you from Choma?
I grew up in Choma.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was born here at Lusaka, but my parents based themselves in Southern Province, Choma. So I stayed in Choma for some time. Yeah? Yeah, I stayed in Choma for some time. Like 7, 8 years. Nice. Yeah.
What would?
I would.
I told you I could flow a little bit much. That's as far as I can go. So I also want to find out, growing up in Lusaka, at what age do you go to Choma and what age do you come back?
I can't really remember the time we went to Choma because I was quite young. Yeah, due to some ministry that my dad is running. Yes, so we left Lusaka when I was very young. Then I grew up, most of my time was spent in Southern Province, specifically Choma, yeah. But we stayed in Livingstone, stayed in Zimba. I've also stayed in Kalomo as well.
It's that Southern Province, it's not even specific to one town.
Yeah. My native village is actually in Kalomo, so I know those places pretty well.
Okay, I see. And the reason why I asked that is because I wanted to understand your early music influences. So when they come fana, like, how did you start, how did you get into music? Did you start off in church? Or maybe your house had a lot of music that played around, so you picked up on that. How was it for you?
It's actually both examples you've actually given. Because mom and dad are quite musical. Yes, my sis as well, she's a good singer. So I had to pick my part and also just pursue it as a profession. Yeah, not only just as a passion or something that I learned at a tender age, but just pursue it as a profession, so I can offer professional services. Yeah, it has been an interesting journey.
I can only imagine, because I want to understand how, because you did mention that your dad is somehow, if I'm quoting you correctly, in the corporate space. Is it? You said ministry. Or
ministry.
This, in terms of what
religion.
Is he? He's a pastor.
Yeah.
No, PK.
Last.
For real?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known.
Nah, no one.
Now this is very interesting. Now I'm very interested.
Yeah.
So what music was in church?
Yeah, I can say yes, because that's where I mostly developed most of my skills, like playing all the 4 basic instruments, the bass, the lead, the drums, the guitars, and everything. Yeah, that's why I got the knowledge and the theory about just how music goes about. That was with the playing before I pursued it as a profession, just to do sound engineering and other audio services.
Okay, now this is interesting. I want to know how it went when I know you've produced some gospel songs, you've mixed, you've mastered, but when you decided to take a direction in which you're just a music producer. So you're the one that's given a lot of direction to a song, and sometimes you're not responsible for the lyrical content, but somewhat you would contribute. So has there been a conversation like with your dad, or is your dad just like,
Yeah, there is encouragements that come from family, of course, looking at how far I have covered. Yes, and how much I've personally and the family themselves invested in my craft.
Yeah.
Yes, both physical and spiritually. Yeah, they have also contributed to be the KINGTEC I am today. Yeah.
I would have never been able to do one of our past. I would have never been able to tell. So I came across a post that you put up where you're talking about, I think it was your producer from your sound engineering class. I think it's a post where you spoke about he was basically telling you about music and its influences. I'll find that post in just a bit, and I'm gonna be able to read it, but let me see if I can pull it up. So the reason why I wanted to ask a question in regards to that is I wanted to find out if you decided to pursue, because you've said that you've decided to pursue music professionally. Is it something you studied, or did you just expand on it as a passion?
No, I actually studied music. Sound engineering, to be specific.
Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, I did it in the outskirts, that is Johannesburg, South Africa, under SABC Studios.
I took in the outskirts. Because I'll be in the outskirts. You know, when people say the outskirts, we're just thinking, like my outskirts, kumpanga. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, that's why I pursued my profession and just made sure that I got to know the necessary parameters to work with as I'm in the studio. Yeah.
Okay, so does your music kick off as a producer professionally when you're there, or at what point in your life do you come back here, and how does it kickstart?
It kickstarted when I did my first song with Rob, Mamona Bwanji.
So that was your first professional production?
Or with a big artist. I had professional production before. There's quite a number. Mr. Crown, Namalambo.
Yes,
the whole lot of the Basimbi album. Yeah, I produced that one back in Choma by Punchline Studios. Yes, that's where my professional music started. Then I came to Lusaka here, found sponsors, and yeah, they led me to the right direction, and I got to study what I wanted to be and how I saw myself. Yeah.
Okay, so the production of Mamona Bwanji and you meeting Roberto. So this is in Choma. What's your first interaction like? Like, how does it happen? How do you meet him?
He comes for a show in Choma, Club Lilav, to be specific, yes. And DJ Massage, the former ZAM president, is one who told him to say, I've got a dope producer in Choma here. Yeah. So, and it so happened that they swung by. I didn't believe it at first. I was, of course, being a PK, and I remember that day my parents were out for prayers. Yeah, it was on a Saturday. Off from a Friday. And Roberto came through with his manager KJ. And we did something. We're actually working on a track for one of the local artists, which was C2 for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did something, and yeah, that's how we developed that relationship. Mistakenly, I didn't get his number. He got my number. Then he called me after like 4 or 5 months.
Really? Did you even forget about it when
Like, yeah, that's the end. Yeah, when he called me, it was a shock. I was like, oh, I sent you something, come to Lusaka and let's work on something, finish Mamuna Bunch. That's how we linked up in Lusaka here, and we delivered. That song featured Brown. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was your move to Lusaka?
Yes, that was me now starting to come through. I've also been under, I've been to many studios, yeah. The likes of Magician.
Yeah, I also want to talk about that, because obviously you come to Lusaka, and as an artist who's trying to establish himself, you have been producing, and you know you're great at what you do, but you find some people and you want to learn the business and see how things actually work within the game. So who do you go to professionally? Who would you say contributed majorly in terms of you just enhancing your skill or just learning a lot about the business?
Oh, that's a broad question.
No, you can.
Me, because
it's a lot.
Yes, I look at what brings me to this point of being KINGTEC.
Yeah.
Yes, I've met different people. I've tapped inspiration from them. I've been inspired. Some mini mentorship away from the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been through many studios. I've been to Criterion, where there's Alex there when we're doing Zambia Kuchalo. Featuring I remember those days. Yeah, I would go to Magician's Place. The first time I met Mark Brenner at Magician's Place, I met a couple of artists in different studios, and from there I got to learn and study the music business here in Zambia, of course. Yeah, and I later went into it.
Okay, whose arm have you been under for the longest time?
Roberto. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Roberto has been like my guy.
That's in your guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you called KINGTEC even when you're starting off?
Yeah.
Okay. When the because when I'm in a producer and in a chani, so I like the fact that it's it's very prophetic. Now you're in this state of being successful, if I should term it that way. So KINGTEC is like as a king of the throne. But you know what? So there's Roberto. You do that production, and then I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and I know that in between there could be other songs. You mentioned the Kuchalo song. Yeah, so that Kuchalo song is also part of the major productions that you've done.
Yeah.
But also you've produced a lot of major albums. So Born to Win and My Hero, you had a lot to do with both of these albums. Yeah. How do you meet your maps?
I meet your maps through the professional works I did in the Born to Win album to kick off. Then later on, CMAC is one who family introduced me to the Warriors, and just of course me and CMAC we just discovered that we come a long way in that we are cousins. We come from the same place. Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got to learn about that as well in the way. So yeah, I can say that's how it has been. That's how I met the Oreo families. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a similar question that I asked when we were speaking about Omarion. The first time you met your maps, did you feel like, hey, I gotta impress? Because superstar, or were you confident in your works that I know what I'm doing and I actually know what I'm going to bring to the table?
I'm very confident about my work.
Yeah.
That's one thing I know about myself, because I don't try.
Yeah.
It's something I do professionally. As I said, I don't experiment with people's crafts.
Yeah.
Yeah. People invest a lot of money in this work, so I definitely have to invest a lot as well just to be able to deliver. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take you back a little bit in you having gone to school and you're learning sound production, and you've become who you've become now. Our industry is somewhat small. We're a growing industry.
Yeah.
So what would you say is something that you could have seen? Did you have a chance and an opportunity to maybe operate in a professional space in South Africa?
There really it was all about school, due to some strict budgeting and sponsorship. Yeah, it was just with specifically you go there, study, and come back and just do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a question in regards to our growing industry. So producers contribute majorly to a song coming to life. You bring it to life. You give it a lot of artistic direction. You contribute on so many levels. So at the rate at which it is growing, at the rate at which we are as an industry, how fast would you say we're growing, and also how... I just want, like, in terms of structure, do we have a bit of structure now? So this is in regards to you as a producer earning what you must, you as a producer knowing fully well that, oh, if somebody comes to your studio, you're entitled to maybe having a split sheet in place, or having certain agreements with artists that benefit you majorly as the person behind the beat or the song.
Okay. Yeah. I guess such information has been passed down or passed up. Depending on how and where the information is being given. Yeah. Why I'm saying so, it's because of people that we have different interests. When you get into the music, we have different understanding. Yeah. Yeah. But as like I have observed with the past productions and everything, I feel we are getting there now. Yeah. Yeah, we are getting there. Things are being put in place. I hear the monetization thing is coming in place as well. Like, it's not as easy as people think to just collect royalties. There are certain facilities or certain things that have to be put in place. Yeah. Yeah, for you to get the real money of the royalties. Are you with Zamcops? Are you registered under Zamcops? Yes. Okay. Are they helping you in regards to you getting your royalties as well? They're very, very, very helpful. They do send us articles and be able to go through the guidelines and the laws. Yeah. Of course, of how we're supposed to, you know, proceed in certain, if I have an issue with maybe an infringement, they will be able to help me out with those issues, because I'm a member and they understand those things much better. Okay, you're working with a lot of big artists, like very established artists at this level. When we speak about production, and like I said, there's a lot of songs that are out right now. Maybe 90% Sean KINGTEC. Yeah. You know, like there's a lot of music that is out there that you have a lot to do with. Would you say you're making a lot of money from that? I'll say I'm making money. Yeah. Not a lot of money, just money? Money is never enough. But you're making good money. Yeah, I'm making money that is able to keep me and sustain and push me at the end of the day. Okay, so what's your major way of working with artists? I know I'm upcoming artists. I was even seeing in your comments, big man, if you know, I want to come and work with you. Yeah. So seeing as there's a lot of ways in which producers can make money, and like we said, our industry is fast growing. So there's a lot of things that need to be put in place, and slowly we're sort of getting there. But for you, which would you say is your major stream of income? Is it Montakabarak Studio, they pay you? Or is it Muntu akarekoda, then you agree on how the splits are going to happen a little later when the income starts generating? How does it work for you? It works either ways, just like you have put it. You're definitely giving out. No, I just want to know, because it's very. So you see, I've talked to like a lot of producers, and like you said, people get different information coming into an industry. Yeah. So anyway, sometimes I think it's also maybe the level of exposure that we get to go through. So it works very differently for different people. That's why I wanted to know how it works for you. Yeah, so the real money actually is into the royalties, the splits. Yeah, it's something that you be paid for the rest of your life, and I don't know too well, whatever agreement you've had with a certain management or artist. Yes, so royalties are like the main part of it. The money that artists pay, there's a misconception actually. The money that an artist will come into the studio and pay is for the services, like using the equipment, you know, the studio time. That's what the artist pays for. They don't pay for the royalties. If I was to say, I'm not going to get royalties off a song I've produced, maybe like for Roberto, the amount that he pays me upfront is different. You get it, which is more like, will be a lump sum. Yeah. Yeah, but most people would prefer sharing, because that's the normal standard way it's supposed to be actually. So our artists are agreeing to the fact that, oh, there's going to be splits that will happen. Yeah, you think some are biding to those you know, developments, because they understand the future and how it's supposed to be done. Yeah. Yes. People must be able to survive in the music, I believe, and be able to just support whatever is running around them using music. Yeah.
Okay, so you see now, I want to talk about your image as a producer. A lot of the time we know the artist, we barely know the producer. But then when doing my research, I have to go and do a lot of stalking, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of the, before, like the KINGTEC pictures that I was finding from before, like a little early on in your career, when do you still dress like that a lot, or are you now like a little loosened down?
Now I'm a bad man. Yeah, now I believe each and every brand has got a direction they have to take. Yes, each and every brand has got a team behind it, just making sure that the brand looks a certain type of way, attracting business and different entities around.
Yeah. How long did it take you to learn that? Because I understand that being in the industry, what if it's a learning process. Every day you learn, you come across something, and you know, it gives you a different perspective on how you carry yourself, maybe even how you dress. How long did that process take for you to understand that maybe some people might sort of misunderstand, or maybe my brand, what I want to communicate, won't be understood based on how I'm looking?
For me, with basic ethics that I've learned through the sound engineering part, I feel it was quite easy, and the circles I interact with, the people that I interact with, just bring it to light for me, and be able to like practice and just be the craft. Like I am a craft. Yes, I have to sell out my craft. So it's a business I'm putting out there.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. When we return, I would like for us to get into an issue of sound and identity when it comes to Zambian music, because I understand that producers have shaped that over time. When it comes to the influence of what we listen to as the consumers of music, but for now, I'm going to take a short musical break. I'm going to play you another one produced by the Badman himself, KINGTEC. When we return, more conversation is happening, but be sure to chime in on social media, Power TV Zambia, Facebook, Instagram, and on X, KINGTEC at Muchumunzanisha. And we are back, still hanging out with KINGTEC. Please be sure to chime in on social media and follow up Power TV Zambia. And I'm a question. Please feel free to write to us. And before we went on to that break, I also break to Achirisha Bestie. Right. Another song. Listen, just give me like, what's a recipe for making a banger? Because of
I know they are raining. It's raining hits.
It's raining hits. Produced by KINGTEC. Yeah. So like, what's the recipe? Like, at this point, just let us know.
How do you mean?
No, because you just so maziba. Like, do you make songs and just feel like, it depends on how they'll receive it, or have you mastered the art of, there's melodies, there's sound, and how Zambians receive songs?
So this is just like a tip for my fellow producers and just people that are actually in the sound or music sphere. With music, in as much as you think music is physical, it's also spiritual.
Yes.
Yeah. The results we see in clubs, different environments where people are dancing and enjoying the music, that is the physical part. There's also a spiritual part that has to be played just to be able to impact and just to make meaning to the message of the song. Yeah, because an artist will walk into the studio with a concept. They have an inspiration from the environment, maybe a drag or maybe a situation that happened to them or to a friend or anything. They'll always walk into the studio with such ideas. But it's a duty now of a producer to be able to tap through the energy, whatever emotions or feelings that particular artist was feeling when writing that song, to be able to translate it into sound. That's where most producers miss it, and it's a very sensitive part of the creative process of a song. Very, very important. I believe.
Yeah, and then I know that a lot of creatives, right? Not even just specific musicians or producers hit a creative block.
Yeah.
Do you ever get in situations where you just feel like you know what you want to make, but maybe in that moment, like you just feel like you're clogged, like a little bit? How do you find your inspiration again? Like, how do you tap into that source of just getting back in the zone?
I just change the environment.
Yeah.
I'll change my environment and listen more. Because I believe the environment has got the power to stimulate what you give out, what you do.
Yeah.
Yes. So music is a manifestation. It's not in as much as it is physical, as I said, it's spiritual. Music is a manifestation. When an artist has got an idea, that's a manifestation from the artist, and you have to manifest to an exact concept without like changing the meaning of the song. The instrument must be able to complement the words so that it's meaningful and impactful when the music goes out there.
Have you ever said no to producing a song because of its lyrical content?
Yes, a couple of times actually. Of course, I would offer help, not just put them off, but I would also offer help and guidance in terms of writing and just understanding on how to get a proper craft at the end of the day.
Okay. Interestingly, you produced a song recently for Emmanuel. So I'll tell you what happened with that song. So I saw it, I saw the visuals, and I had seen it a couple, but I never paid attention to listening to the song. So I can't remember which artist had shared short clips on social media. And then I said, no, and it's because, you know what, I think Emmanuel to me is one of those artists who, and I hope he just believes in his craft and his journey and understanding that sometimes when you sound or do things a little differently, people take time to catch on. I really feel like he's very unique when we look at a lot of people. But when I listened to that song, I said, and then I found out you produced this, and then on top of it, you didn't tell me, how was the studio session like for that song?
So we need to put a separation between religion and certain things we do in our day-to-day lives. Some things don't need religion to apply. Yes, you are putting past that. So I'm just like as a bit. So look, also not maybe religion, but maybe I'll just say more spirituality based on how you grew up. And I get it. Like sometimes, like you have said certain things rooted in you that you feel like, and that's why I was asking about lyrical content before. But I just want to know how the studio session went because I've been run away from. It was pretty interesting as well, because I needed to get the proper explanation of the particular word he was using. And at that particular time, that's what we were actually wanting to work on. Yes, and that's we were targeting a certain audience, of course, because we needed that attention from that audience, and of which we are getting it, and we have gotten it. Okay, so now before we went to the ad break, we were talking about sound. Producers play a massive role, and always in Zambia we've had this conversation, and it's a debate somehow on knowing what the original sound is. Muzambia, Twadikota identity, Twadikota shani. So for you as a producer who's seen Zambian music evolve over time, where would you say we are in terms of sounds? Sounds, we are very broad. Like right now, we are broad. I hear people talking of Zamrock. That's our old native, of course, old native sound. We can't run away from that thing, and we just need to embrace it, of course. Maybe upgrade it. We can always keep the necessary elements that define it. Of course, that's why we have, in today's era, we have Afrofusion with Afropop. A lot of stuff is just coming up, and but it's still quality works. I believe we can even develop our own Zamrock. Zamrock has been there for the longest period of time. It's one research I'm actually also undergoing, just to understand and just get the depth about Zamrock and how it emerged and how it just presents itself to our people.
I like that. I like the fact that you're saying you're sort of like educating yourself on Zamrock, because it didn't not just such a soundy. We actually produce, and you're also a multi-genre producer. What's your favorite genre to produce?
I don't have.
You don't?
I don't have.
Really?
I roll in any craft that somebody brings. I believe as a producer or sound engineer, you must be able to translate different types of concepts and be able to deliver them the way they're supposed to be represented. Yes, that is why you are creative in the first place. You create crafts that will be able to resonate with people out there.
Okay, so I'll bring you back to speaking about albums. So you had produced a song on You've done produced a song on Voice Your Doula. You've been on Roberto's album, his 7th studio album. You've been on My Hero. Those are very big albums, especially when we speak about artistry in Zambia and where our musicians are. Those are albums that you contributed to in a very, very major way. What impact have these kind of works, so working with this particular artist and producing such major works, what impact has that had on your career in terms of just recognition even beyond our borders?
One of the reasons I'm here today.
Yeah.
I got this invitation because of those people.
Yeah.
The collaborations I've done, both locally and internationally.
Yeah.
They've actually had, they've brought a major development in understanding-wise, just being able to execute works that are competitive out there. I believe there's so much more out there. You know, we can always look at the cake we have in Zambia, the audiences, the shows and everything, but we can always tap through the international market and just, you know, make music as something that we can export and gain revenue from. Yeah, and I believe the government is willing, in one way or another, to sponsor and just help us in that direction.
Okay, so as a producer who has established himself very well, where is the major gap in regards to where help might come in? Like as producers, for you to get help, to just know that this is my primary source of income, this is what I'm doing, and as maybe the government or other bodies of work that can help improve or enhance the way you guys work. What do you think has been the major challenge?
Okay, as we said it in the first place, of course, Zambian music is growing each and every day. Talent is emerging, and we have these agencies that you know, companies, agencies, and different ministries that are there to support our music. I feel it's just the accessibility, you know, accessibility to those places, and just having master classes sometimes, you know, enforcing master classes to teach so people can get to those such maybe type of understanding people need to have as a producer or artist, because people have got misinterpretation of a lot of things out there, you know. So I feel if we have the government invest in maybe music more in terms of engineering. I believe we have Evelyn Horn that is doing sound engineering, but if we can have more places, you know, people can go to study and learn about music, not only outside but even here in Zambia, it would be something that can bring a huge difference.
Okay, in working with a lot of these artists, who do you feel has challenged your creativity a lot more? When you get in studio with them, they help push your creativity. Like Oziba, you've said you're very confident in your work, but you know that this person sort of challenges you to even take it next level.
Basically all the artists. Yes.
That's a very diplomatic answer.
Basically all the artists. I know you're looking for a certain answer.
No. I didn't want it to be. And I'll take that answer. No, where is she? I'm never there when you're having studio sessions. But also I understand that there's people that sometimes you might work with even more times than one, because you know that I know I can produce, but when this artist comes, like they just push your creativity next level.
For me, it's everybody. If I have an upcomer in the studio today, I'll give him my very best, because I have no time to experiment, because I'll charge someone according to my services, and I should be able to return with value or something that is of professional standard. Yes, I believe in a proper exchange. This is why when you come to my studio, I'll give you my red card, and you also have to bring your idea. If I'm a producer, I need to help you, of course, construct words in the right way that will be able to be catchy out there. Yes, it's challenging. It's always challenging, you know, just making sure, because my name is also at stake. When I put my tag in front of that song or behind, KINGTEC is represented, the brand is represented. Even the artists that I have collaborated with, like Yo Maps, Roberto, are represented in that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll speak about Yo Maps' album. How many songs did you produce in total?
I can't remember.
You know, when I when I was looking at the list, I said, KINGTEC, but then also when being given an opportunity like that, because, and I'm gonna make reference to maybe that particular album because I understand where Your Maps is in regards to his craft, and also when we speak about Zambian music, but also being, because there's a lot of producers, if he wanted, he would have said, oh, you know, but he accorded you like to do that amount of work on his album. How did you feel about that, or how was that for you?
It was a great privilege, I can say. Because in the first place, I wasn't expectant that we'll be working on such a big body of you know, crafts and music. But it later came to my attention, and yeah, we got into it, and it had mixed feelings. Yeah, of course, I had to suggest a few things in there. It was a very, very interesting journey. We had 30 songs. We released 13 out of 30.
So all those 30 songs you had something to do with?
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, there were quite a number of songs that we actually did, and we trimmed them to 13 for some reasons and everything. Of course, being one of the executive producers, yeah, it was challenging and exciting as well, working with an artist that has got great numbers like that. Yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah, you knew you were not trying, but you are working to execute and deliver. Yeah.
Okay. We live in a world where like people say numbers don't lie and numbers spill over, and you're speaking about his numbers. Have they sort of spilled over to your brand as well, like in regards to the fact that you have a strong affiliation?
Definitely. Definitely. That one is a must.
Yeah?
Yeah, that one is a must.
Okay, so you've done very well for yourself. Who would you like to work with that you haven't worked with? So it could be somebody you haven't produced for locally, therefore international. Now if I produce it, at this rate to reach a movie, I need to get your autograph in advance, because by next week KINGTEC might be in America producing for I don't know who.
You're prophesying actually.
Amen.
Okay, there are a number of artists I would love to collaborate with. Yes, locally.
What is the exhausting? Yeah, like
working with the biggest artists in the country is such a. You definitely have to choose whom you work with at some point.
Yes.
Just to be able to keep the value that you have with the other parties. And you have to make a mutual understanding. There are contracts drawn, there are documents signed, and everything. So you definitely have to follow all those things. But the artists that I would love to work with here in Zambia, it's like any artist I can say who's got a good perfect craft. Yeah, I'll be able to execute and just give them something good. But outside, I've got a number. Yeah, Africa, of course, I would love to work with Wizkid, Davido, in the European and these other continents, Chris Brown. I'm very ambitious as well.
No, that's a good thing. Listen, speak it into the universe.
Yes, because I have things actually in the pipeline, cooking some stuff.
Like Chris Brown?
No, I can't really mention the names right now, but yeah, quite interesting artists I'm about to collaborate with before this year ends. Okay. Yeah.
Are you under how's KINGTEC producing? Do you have your own studio, or are you with somebody, under somebody, working, collaborating? How's it working?
In a partnership actually with a media house. Yes, KINGTEC and Charms Music. Okay. Yeah, so it's a partnership. We are just having almost like the same vision, to just be impactful, teach and learn from what we have to. Yeah.
Okay, so two things that you mentioned before I ask my next question. So as an artist and who's gotten to a certain level, obviously at a certain point, like you go safer so that your work also still remains with a lot of dignity attached to it. But then again, there's a lot of up and coming artists who want to have a feel of KINGTEC touch on their song, because very sure jingo sapo nampe karakene kare ka jingo karaka kufes kare okay, that's kashan.
Yeah, it's a log.
Yes, so when you just put that is akanga baumva pant karira mlimbo ya barobeto nenesh na pisha. So what determines in terms of quality and like artistry for the young artists that are watching right now that would like you to work, or that would like to work with you? Nishi statemina tururimbo, okay, your artist apari kwapa, okay, I can take it on, or this is something I can work with, but if you maybe work on your craft a little bit more.
Like what can determine?
Yes, like who you would work with and maybe what kind of artist. Are those things that come into play before your production? Because I understand that you're building a brand and you've built it to a certain level. So also association or working with certain people also has an effect on your name and your brand.
Okay, good music is good music. Yeah, you can't really take it away. Good craft is good craft. You'll be able to hear it, or with the experience I've gained, for the past 15 years. Yeah, I believe it's easy to spot talent raw talent, cooked talent. You're able to know by the voices, the writing, the understanding, the maturity in the singing or the writing. You're able to tell, and it's easy for you to engage. Yeah, when you have that type of an understanding. Or maybe you've rubbed shoulders, because look, I'm mostly working with big artists in the country. I've had talent and I've seen talent, so I'll be able to spot one easily. You know, so yeah, it's just the creativity they bring on board. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to start my music career. Would you produce my song?
No problem. Turn me into an artist.
You can spot the talent, huh?
Not as yet.
Yeah. But you know what, KINGTEC, thank you so much for stopping by. Also, we're going to end the show with a recent song that you produced. KINGTEC, the international producer. This song has been making waves on social media, also radio, television. We're going to end with Mr. and Mrs. Such a huge record right now. Like now it's like you're used. Like you're just like, yeah, I did that.
It's crucial. Sometimes I even start criticizing myself. But why didn't I do that?
Really?
Why didn't I add that reverb? But you know, I'm pretty much confident with my craft.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's always, you know, I think it's a nice feeling. Of course, you're getting people responding to you. Sometimes it's weird, you know, like the title "Peace of Mind," where people would go out singing that song in places. Yeah. Like, oh, this is what actually happened. Yeah. It brings that anxiety and like, oh, this is what people go through when they listen to what we work on. You know, others would hug each other, you know, kind of a thing, express happiness, others sadness, depending on the concept. Yeah. So it's such a great experience to actually be part of.
Okay, so looking forward to that international collaboration that you have on the way. A lot of people that are producers start off as like rapper. Did you just start off as a producer? Did you try to sing or rap at a certain point?
I was a singer.
Oh, you were a singer?
Yeah.
So can you still sing?
No interest.
The interest, but can you still sing?
Yes, I can. This is why I'm able to direct.
No. Some producers can just like, but I just wanted to know if you still have, you know, because I've heard his stories of before nikaribu producer and rapper. So I just wanted to know what your story was.
Yeah, I was a singer. I used to sing gospel actually, gospel music.
What happened to the dream?
It was just an expression at that particular time. Yeah, I believe it was just an expression leading to KINGTEC.
Okay, KINGTEC, thank you so much for stopping by.
Sure.
Otherwise, Papa TV Operation Playlist 99.9 produced by KINGTEC. My guest on today's episode was music producer, somebody behind the beat or behind some of the biggest hits the country has ever heard. KINGTEC, Ashtavin to very, very international, like he said, international producer. So to end the show, we're going to end with Mr. and Mrs. by your boy, Yo Maps. Until I come your way again, my name is Suecey. I'm KINGTEC, much more. Say,